Welcome to SportsMatters TV, bringing you exclusive interviews, live shows, breaking news, and exclusive podcasts. Check out our website, www.sportsmatters.tv, or call into our office today, Sports Matters TV and Media on McCurtain Street, Cork City. Check out our sponsors, the Macau Casino Cork, and iFix Computer and Phone Sales and Repairs in Blarney. Proudly filmed by Deep Red Productions, Sports Matters TV, bringing the sports home. Okay guys, welcome to Sports Matters TV. Today is a big special. We're in the heart of Cork City, the Macau Sporting Club in Cork. I'm joined by a very talented lady who always blows me away when I see her train in the gym as well. An absolute beast, and she's doing so much at the moment for Cork and beyond. Claire, how's things with you?
Great, delighted to be here.
Definitely, you're always busy. You're constantly on the go,
Sure.
and like you're always promoting some great stuff in Cork. And of course, yourself, like Juvenile and all that, you've had a fabulous career, I should say.
Cheers, thanks.
How did you get started first day? Where did it all come about for you?
Gosh, yeah. I think when I was younger, I played a bit of soccer.
Yeah.
I dabbled in badminton and a bit of basketball, and I finally settled on athletics. And there's a big athletics tradition in my family, especially on my dad's side. All my uncles on my dad's side, they all were involved in athletics, and three of them got scholarships to the US, and one of my uncles ran for Ireland in the Olympics, and he was a European record holder in 400 metres. So there's a tradition steeped in athletics in my family. So I started in athletics, when I was 7, and it was the one that stuck with me. I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
and like you went on like juvenile and junior, you done quite well. Like you had a couple of Irish caps. You there was obviously records set, but. Can you remember that first big race for you? What would it like back then? Would it be like national? Would it be local? Or what would it be? It was obviously something big,
Yeah. I suppose really young, I was just participating in open sports and just having fun with it. And as I kind of got into my teenage years, I did well, and I remember wearing the Irish jersey for the first time. I think that's definitely a special moment.
Of course.
Hard to forget that. So. It's really nice to be able to represent your country, and give your best. So that definitely stands out as a memorable moment.
Ideally, and would you these days? Would you watch out for all them kids and teenagers that were in, I suppose, your position back then? Would you keep an eye on and give them advice, because we know you got a scholarship in America. That was obviously a huge thing. Was that something you worked for, or did it just come about?
Yeah, that's interesting actually. The US scholarship system in athletics is quite popular and was in previous years. Myself, I didn't choose the traditional path, so immediately out of secondary school I actually went to college in Dublin, and I stayed in Ireland, and it wasn't until later I went over after I finished my undergrad here, and I think that worked well for me because I was that little bit older. And so I received a scholarship and over I went to study for my master's, so it was a fantastic experience, absolutely.
And what was it like over there? Is it a cultural shock? In Ireland we're so used to the sports, the cold weather. Obviously the weather's a lot better over there, but was it a big change for you?
Yeah, it definitely was. Perhaps I was a little lucky. I was based in the East Coast over by Pittsburgh, so it's definitely colder in the winter, but it's warmer in the summer, and it was an enjoyable experience, different education system, different setup, met some incredible people, had a fantastic team, so it was very enjoyable for me.
And what's the standard change like? Training wise, you always hear the Irish are unbelievable, but in America they just have so much more in place by the looks of it.
Yeah, I suppose they have a bigger population and they have bigger systems, so their collegiate system in particular, they've got a good setup, a support network that's quite consistent, but they have a lot of finances too and funding, so that definitely helps. In terms of training, I think at home here I think we all train as hard, and it's just perhaps maybe a little bit more structured in their support.
It's you always hear that, because you watch the Olympics and I suppose anything else, and it's always Ireland are thereabouts, but the Americans always seem to be around the top. So
yeah, absolutely.
We'll have to try and catch up at some stage. And was there anything obviously there was big achievements in America? Any records broke?
You know what? America did well for me in one sense. I found a flow in America, and I set some college records, and I set a state conference record in the 800 meters. That was kind of the event I specialized and I got my scholarship for.
Yeah.
And I was All-American, so I got to nationals over there, and I received All-American. So that was a big honor for me, and it was fantastic. I was delighted, you know.
And we were happy to get you back to Ireland, and obviously, like, you've been crazy ever since. Obviously, learning so much out there from your younger days. You obviously put some plans into perspective, and you're quite busy. Like we speak in Cork in you know, when you're up in the gym training and stuff, and you've always kind of like, you're working hard to promote so much in this country. What's that like for you, and what kind of stuff do you enjoy promoting most?
I suppose I really love, you know, the concept of physical activity and not just sport, you know, and it's so important, and especially with young people.
Yeah.
The statistics are fairly frightening in their own way. You know, 1 in 4 are not meeting the physical activity requirements. So I really just, you know, I'm very passionate about just being involved, and not just in sport, but, you know, in physical activity and being active, and bringing it to people in a fun and enjoyable way, you know, which it can be, you know.
Is there enough being done, do you reckon, in the country at the moment? Like, obviously they're putting stuff in place. Do you think it should have been done maybe a lot longer ago, or is it really in effect now, you know, is it?
I think there's a lot more awareness, and there's definitely a lot more funding coming in, you know, on stream in terms of the promotion of it, and in well-being in general and health in general. Particularly physical activity is seen as a strong preventative measure for a lot of chronic health diseases.
Yeah.
There's a huge protective factor, and I think what's mind-blowing about exercise in particular is there's really no other pill that you could take that would give you as much health benefits as physical activity.
Definitely.
So, you know, it can change your future, you know, so that's quite powerful.
It is. And do you reckon, like, they should be introduced to, like, you know, like you do, like, I remember being I done a course called, it was Image Fitness back when we were doing the fitness stuff, and our lecturer was on about it back then. Like, this is 2010. He was saying that they need to go into schools, and obviously you've got PE and certain things in school, but he had this kind of like incentive where he wanted to go into schools and do a lot more. Do you think kids from the age of 4 or 5 upwards should be, you know, doing a lot more in school? Obviously subjects are essential and learning is essential, but like, as in, like he was saying, there should be a subject where, like, instead of having PE, like, they could do a lot more. Do you reckon there should be a lot more put into place, or?
I think we're going in that direction for sure, you know. The biggest challenge we have is that all our lifestyles in general are that bit more sedentary, and we've got a lot more technology, which is beneficial, but it can have its hindrances. So I think incorporating more physical activity into the school day is a great place to start. And there's a lot of initiatives involved, you know, at the moment in trying to achieve that. Particularly, I know in my own field in Athletics Ireland, we're currently working on a program at the moment called Fit for Schools, and it's, you know, enhancing primary school athletics in particular, and we also have the Daily Mile, so it's really about, you know, helping the schools and the teachers to incorporate more activity, and which can only be a good thing.
Definitely sounds like it. And what kind of projects are you at the moment as well? Because we know there's always projects. I always see you're smiling and there's this and that. Like, anything that you could kind of give a little hint to, you know, what we can expect in the future, or is it all in the hush?
Yeah, no. I suppose, I'm always working on different projects. I think that's the nice thing since I started out in my own business. You know, I used to work for Apple as an EMEA wellness specialist for the Europe and the Middle East, and that was absolutely fantastic. Gave me some great experience. And the beauty of now in my own business is I can work with a lot of different organizations and different people. So I work with some corporates, I work with schools in particular, really enjoy working with bringing physical activity to young people, and work in the communities. So I work with organisations like the Cork Sports Partnership, and
they're awesome,
they do some great work. So there's a huge amount of promotion of activity around Cork, and then an exciting project that's will be launched in the new year is with Athletics Ireland. So watch out for the Fit for Schools.
The launch day and all that kind of stuff.
The launch day, for Fit for Schools. So that's definitely going to be an exciting project.
We can't wait to hear that. Now, we have to ask some advice, right? So, like, we'll always have the younger generation watching. When it comes to athletics and, you know, reaching goals and doing so well, what advice can you give to, I suppose, the teenagers and the juniors in general? What's essential? Enjoy it. You know, fitness or sport, whether it's athletics or not, you know, it's a process, it's a journey, you know, and it teaches you so much. You know, there's a lot of highs and there's also a lot of lows or challenges, and I think the most important thing is that you're doing something that you enjoy. I think that's, you know, absolutely essential, and that will take you far, you know. I like that. I like that very much. And we have to just talk about yourself, because like when you say ups and downs in sports, okay, I know personally that you've had a few setbacks injury-wise, and it's always, like for me, this has been inspiring watching yourself kind of, take the steps to get back to full fitness. But what's it like, obviously, to have the setbacks? And because like everyone will have a setback when it comes to injuries in like any sport. What's it like to obviously get the setback and then that feeling of bouncing back and getting to a place where you're able to kind of get in there to where you were, and then obviously get to that place then again?
Yeah, it's quite the process and the journey, and becoming fit, I think, it's very empowering, and it's really enjoyable. So when you hit a rough patch, like an injury, for example, it really is a great way to kind of teach you and question, okay, well, what can I learn from this, and how do I get better, and I think I've had a few series of injuries, which has been difficult back to back, to work on, and I think working on your mental strength is a really good, a part of that. So you can get in shape, but physically, but getting in shape mentally as well. So a big part of that is, I think, your bounce back ability, being able to find, and that's where it comes back to really enjoying it, and finding a reason and a passion, to go back to it.
Yeah, no, I've seen. I'll tell you, this girl can throw a med ball anyway. That's for sure. So we see so many things on the telly. I'm always watching Davy Fitz, the legendary Clare manager of Fittest Families, and Operation Transformation. What do you think of these shows in general? Do you think they set a good example, or?
Yeah, I think they're great. They're bringing awareness and the importance of being active and fit, and definitely Fittest Families in a fun way. I think it's really important. Like personally, I don't subscribe to 10-week crash courses that are super intense and trying to massive lifestyle changes. I think it's so important that we recognise that being active in a fun and enjoyable way is a process, and
of course
it becomes like a habit that you build into your lifestyle. Sometimes if we have a 10-week crash course, they can, the questions are asked, how sustainable is that long term? And really, emphasizing the importance of we can get fit and active, in a fun way and over time. There's no rush.
Yeah, but it's not healthy, because I know people in general that would maybe have for argument's sake, I know a couple of lads that are boxers and MMA fighters. These lads will try and cut 3 stone, 2.5 stone in 6 weeks. Right. And I know for a fact it's not healthy. So we have to be careful. Small steps.
Absolutely. I think it's small steps, not going from 0 to 100, and really about finding that activity, any movement that you enjoy, and then it'll be sustainable, and you get the lifelong benefits.
Definitely. You have to tell my friend Johnny, he thinks he can go into a marathon without any training.
Oh Lord.
It's not ideal.
It's definitely not ideal, there's plenty of things you can do to get along the way, starting off small and small steps, marathon is a massive undertaking, so. And
nutrition's essential, obviously.
Nutrition's important too, I think looking after ourselves, mind, body and spirit, a holistic approach is important, to our overall well-being,
Have to agree. One or two quick questions, heroes growing up. Are you a big hero of Sonia?
I think, who wasn't, especially as a young person, and she's local, and just seeing her, somebody local, achieve, and such a, she's an icon really, in athletics alone in the world, and, I remember even getting my book signed by her, and, it's amazing how much, especially your local sports people, and there's even more people, I think, people like Marcus O'Sullivan, Mark Carroll.
I know Mark quite well, I remember seeing Mark Carroll, he'd come home. Mark's always in America, but his dad would always, his dad John, he'd always ring us and call him to the house saying, look, Mark's going to be back next week. Or we'd all call up to the house and we'd meet him and stuff. And at the time he was European champion, but I remember you'd see him at 6 in the morning. His dad would say, look out your window at 6 in the morning. You see Mark running through Harborview Road, and that's where it all started for him. And I think the history of the North Mon back then, it was a big thing, but
hugely so, yeah.
A true legend.
Absolutely, and it's amazing because they're right on our doorstep, you know. And I think what's so hugely inspiring is they show us that it's possible, it's possible on your own doorstep. So it's exciting to have people, and of course we have Rob Heffernan and Derval O'Rourke. We have a lot of people in athletics and in sport in general. They're
all legends, Corkonians, true legends. And just have to ask you one more question. Are you a better footballer than your brother?
Oh, well.
I think you are.
You think so? I would like to say that I can give him a run for his money.
Michael, watch out. Claire, it's an absolute honour. You're a star and inspiration, and we're proud of all the work you're doing at the moment. And we'll have all the links up as well.
Super, thanks very
on the
much.
website. So thank you very much.
Thanks a million.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Great
Thanks,
chatting.
guys.
Thanks.
A huge thank you to our media partners, Suit Distributors Cork, and Shooters Pool and Gaming in Blackpool. Sports Matters TV, bringing the sports home.